Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a question that, let's be honest, hits really close to home for so many families. When you're paying for senior care, what are you actually paying for?
So, where does the money really go? Well, a new script from a nonprofit organization has a pretty startling answer to that question, and it's one that really challenges the entire foundation of the for profit assisted living industry. So, in this explainer, we're just going to break down the claims made in this source. Our goal isn't to take a side here, but to really get under the hood of the argument it's making about the business of senior care. And let me tell you, the source script does not pull any punches. It kicks things off with this incredibly sharp challenge, framing the whole issue as this fundamental conflict between the mission of providing care and the demands of corporate finance.
Okay, so let's get into the core of the critique. The source argues that the really high price tag you see on so many assisted living facilities, well, it isn't just about covering the cost of care. The central claim here is that a really significant chunk of a family's monthly bill gets diverted to serve the business itself. We're talking about paying high executive salaries, satisfying investors, and covering administrative costs that, aren't directly related to the residents' day-to-day well-being. And this is where the source's argument really clicks into place. It's all about how you define overhead. By separating out the costs of care from the costs of the corporation, it basically reframes things like shareholder returns as expenses that directly pump up the price for families. So, after deconstructing that for-profit model, the script, as you'd expect, pivots to present what it sees as the solution, a nonprofit, community-based approach. And they present this as a totally different way of doing things. The core idea is that every single surplus dollar gets reinvested right back into the facility and its services. The accountability here is to the community, not to a bunch of distant shareholders. This leads us right to a direct side-by-side comparison. This is where the source really tries to make its argument crystal clear by showing two very, very different financial paths. And here it is. This is the crucial fork in the road, according to the source. The model you choose basically determines the primary goal. Is it to generate profit for outside investors, or is it to provide care for residents? The source argues this one single difference changes absolutely everything about how a facility is run. Okay, so this chart really brings their financial argument to life. In this depiction of the for-profit model, a huge chunk of the budget, we're talking 45%, is allocated to corporate overhead and investor profit. That leaves just a little over half for the actual care and staffing. Now, in stark contrast, the source presents the nonprofit model like this. Notice something. That investor profit slice, it's just gone, completely. The administrative overhead is smaller, and the vast majority of the funds, 85% in this illustration, is funneled directly back into the core mission, care and staffing. So what does the source want families to actually do with this information? Well, it doesn't just present a critique. It really aims to arm consumers with a kind of framework for making their own decisions. The source boils its entire argument down to these four questions. Think of it like a toolkit for families. It suggests that by asking about ownership, financial transparency, how profits are used, and staffing, you can cut through all the marketing and get right to the heart of what a facility truly prioritizes. And ultimately, the source material leaves us with this final, really powerful question. It's a challenge to look beyond just the sticker price and to really consider the underlying financial structures that shape the care our loved ones get. It asks you to decide for yourself what value or what cost that profit motive really brings to the table.